right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Rockland's News. It is Friday, which means that we can have some fun this weekend. Hopefully everybody's winding down in their work this week. We got a few stories, but more importantly, in a few moments, I'm going to introduce our guest, Tim Ahle from the North Rockland High School Academy of Finance. He's on the show, and he just completed yet another year of fantastic work, getting a lot of students ready for careers in business, which is something that's obviously near and dear to my heart. But let's get into the news real quick. We got a few stories and then we'll do our interview. First of all, Rockland County is launching a renewed pedestrian safety campaign as crash injuries, unfortunately, remain a concern across the region. Officials say that 208 pedestrians were killed or injured in Rockland crashes during 2024, part of a larger statewide trend involving hundreds of pedestrian deaths each year. The county says many crashes happen at intersections or while people are crossing roadways, often involving distracted driving, speeding, failure to yield, alcohol use, or poor crossing conditions. Residents are being urged to use crosswalks, obey signals, avoid texting while walking, very important, and stay visible at night. Wear luminescent clothing or a safety vest, things along those lines. Drivers are also being reminded to stay alert and follow the rules. The campaign's message is eyes on the road, Rockland. And as part of that campaign, Rockland's News in January decided that its mandate for this year is to focus on safe driving. And today at 12 o'clock, we will have our official announcement for an upcoming music festival that some of you probably know and is near and dear to your hearts, but it's going to tie in traffic safety. So stay tuned. We're going to have that episode first, as always, out on our Facebook page because, hey, we're 50 years old over here. So we want to make sure that we reach out to people of our advanced age. But yeah, 12 o'clock today. Orangetown officials are considering a moratorium on a new data center construction after residents raised concerns at the June 9th town board meeting. The proposed pause would apply to future data center applications, but not existing proposals, including DataBank's planned Phase 2 expansion near Lake Tapan. Residents and members of the Data Center Crisis Coalition voiced concerns about noise, environmental impact, and the growing number of data centers in town. Supervisor Teresa Kenny said that a moratorium would give Orangetown time to study the issue and draft clearer rules for future projects. A public hearing will be required, although no date has been set. The town is working with consulting firm AKRF on the proposal. And I had a conversation with a very well-known communications director in a very, very well-known industrial corporation. I'm not going to name names because we don't name our sources unless it's really, that we got to put it out there. But the source said off the record that something to note is that these data centers, and I'm not saying that Rockland's News has an opinion one way or the other on this. We have to see how this plays out. There's a lot of unknowns. But one of the things to note, at least from that person's opinion in favor of, is that a lot of these data centers use closed loop water cooling systems. So it's a very important thing to note. It's something that you should research. We're going to research, and we'll have some more follow-up on that particular story over probably the next few years, because it's going to be a thing. AI and all that. And emergency responders were called to Nyack's Memorial Park after about 70 young adults on Wednesday from a nearby Ramapo school entered the Nyack Creek culvert. All right. And just so you know, culvert is like an underground stormwater removal system. I learned a new word this week, culvert, and they became disoriented underground. Officials say everyone was accounted for, which is the important part of this story. No serious injuries were reported, although some students had minor cuts and scrapes. The group reportedly traveled through the underground stormwater system, with some reaching areas near Franklin Street and Main Street before people nearby heard them and called 911 because kind of scary. Kids are underground and not at a club, like underground, literally underground. Orangetown Police, Nyack Fire, Nyack Community Ambulance. We saw Haverim was over there. I believe Hatzola was all over them. I mean, was over at the place to help. To help. Ramapo responders and other emergency crews assisted. And yesterday we had Mayor Joe Rand on the show, and he thanked responders for their quick coordination and reminded the public that the culvert is not a safe place to explore. And I can only imagine the person that discovered the young teenage women that were like underground and everything, and like all of a sudden somebody's walking by like, and all of a sudden underneath you hear, "Hello, can you please help us? We're very, very scared down here." It must have been a bit of a disorienting moment, but the hidden hero in this entire story is the person that first notified emergency responders. So to that, Rockland's News says kudos. And I would like to introduce our guest for today's Rockland's News show, Tim Ahle from the North Rockland High School Academy of Finance. And I have some great experiences with Tim. And Tim, our first encounter was when Christine Cahill had said, "Hey, come over to a meeting and see what's going on." And Tim runs a program for many, many years now. I'm not going to tell him his age, but he does a great job, in my opinion, to really help students start thinking about their finances, their budgeting, and also their career prospects very early on. Sometimes as early as, I think, was it, Tim? They get started freshman, sophomore year, or what's it like?
Well, thanks, Tom, for letting me come on the program today. They do.
Yeah.
They start in grade 11, and it is a career-focused program for students interested in accounting, financial planning, business, marketing, entrepreneurship. And it is a 2-year program. So we are just like you said how many years. We just actually graduated our 25th class from this program. So we started back in September of the year 2000. We probably had about 675 students go through the program over these years.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And it's been a real success, and probably one of the best things that North Rockland High School offers. We do offer other academy programs, but the reality is this was the first one, and all the other ones try to mimic it and really set the stage for these academies. So just give you a little bit more about it. It is a 2-year program for grades 11 and 12. The students take a variety of courses, including accounting, macroeconomics, computer applications, an entrepreneurship class, a finance class, and an investing class. Some of those classes are offered through for college credit with our college partner, St. Thomas Aquinas College.
Yeah.
We're so thankful to have this partnership. And as you mentioned before, Christine Cahill, who is the assistant business
Yeah, she's the
chair
go-getter.
at
She,
yeah,
and she's very
she's my
enthusiastic and
yeah.
organized too.
Yeah. So no, without a doubt, she's definitely one of our biggest advocates, and we're so fortunate to have St. Thomas, as I said before, as our college partner. So that's the courses that the kids take. But in addition to the classes, what's really great at this program is that we offer all different types of other opportunities. Starting off with just having a variety of guest speakers come in. I know you've come in a few times, Tom, over the years.
Yeah.
And because we have a block of time in the morning and a block of time in the afternoon, we could do some really cool things. So like I said, we have a variety of guest speakers. We try to have one a month come in for the students, local business leaders. And then the next thing that we also do with our students is we offer job shadowing opportunities. Whether it's here in Rockland County or it's virtual. We're fortunate enough to have a big alumni network that offer a lot of opportunities for students just to learn more about their careers and what exactly they do. And we're just so fortunate to have that. And then the real piece that makes this program a little bit different than, say, some of the other programs that we offer is that the students actually do an internship. Anywhere from 80 to 150 hours during the course of the program, in which we help them place the students, and they are paid internships. And I know, Tom, you've taken an intern over the years as well.
Oh, several, and
So
benefited from it too. They're great students that become interns over here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know with our internships, a lot of the times, the kids will go in and the students will go in and work with them, and they're coming in with most up to date computer skills. So they always, a lot of the current employees, learn from the students as well. So we're very, very fortunate. We're very fortunate to have our business community here in Rockland County help us participate in helping provide these internship opportunities.
Hmm.
Like I said, we're very fortunate on that. The our typical internship provider or a job shadow partner, I should say. We work with a lot of CPA firms. We work with financial planners, different levels of government. Different levels of entrepreneurs as well. Those are the ones that really, we've been partnering with for all these years,
Hmm.
and giving the students these opportunities.
And I think one of the things that I've always been, and I'll have to say a bit jealous too, because I haven't been on the field trip with the rest of the students, is that you visit the New York Stock Exchange every year with the students.
Yes, we do. We're fortunate enough to go to the New York Stock Exchange. Not as easy to get into as it used to be.
I'll bet.
You have to know someone and be a guest. And we've also been fortunate enough where we do go every year. And for the past few years, we've been fortunate enough to be there for the opening bell, which is
Wow.
probably the most exciting time of the day. And last year, our students was actually we were right behind Jim Cramer doing his broadcasts, and the
Hmm.
students are all dressed up, looking really professional. And he's like, "Who are these kids? What college are they from?"
Well,
And
that's good.
the
Yeah.
best part is, well, we're from North Rockland High School, and he's like, "They're high school students. That's awesome."
Yeah.
And then he actually met up with us, 10 minutes after his show, where the students were able to sit and ask him questions and get some advice for him. So
Hmm.
definitely an opportunity that most kids will never have. And I always tell my students, I said, just wait to go off to college, and they start talking about the Federal Reserve, they start talking about the stock exchange. You're going to sit there and be like, I've been to those places. I've learned economic theory from and went to a lecture at the Federal Reserve. Things that most high school students don't have that aren't exposed to.
Right. Yeah. And that's the part of the program that I think is a thread all the way throughout. And you even mentioned before macroeconomics is a component that you teach. So,
Hmm.
and it's been said, and I don't think this is in every public and private institution, but sometimes there's a bit of a focus on, of course, the fundamentals where the financial part of managing one's career and life comes down to the finances and understanding how the money moves almost in and of itself sometimes, market forces, I find is an important piece of the puzzle. So that's something where it's almost like, how do I put it, that I've always been fascinated by your program. Like, you're not just looking for the students to like have middling levels of, okay, so this is how much you're going to budget for your cable or your streaming every month. This is how much you have to pay for your cell phone bill. What you're doing is you're saying, look at the bigger picture here. Look at how the streams of money go in and out of not just people's pockets, but also out of corporations for various things, and see how the psychological influences occur in that. And then you go out and then you go past that and you get these students internships at great companies. I find that amazing.
The truth is, we are so fortunate to have that, and you being on we have an advisory board for the program, and local business leaders like you, along with many of our other local business leaders, from the area, including VLA Water, and I said St. Thomas Aquinas,
Veolia, yeah, yeah.
and different and New York State Society of CPAs. They're the people that actually help us get the students into these jobs. So it's not just me. It's really a team effort.
It's a team effort.
So
Yep.
we are very, very fortunate on having that as part of our program. Just one other piece on the program: we are a national program. We're part of what we call NAF, which is the National Academy Foundation.
Hmm.
There are many of these academies. Well, there's tons of these academies across the country, but we're the only one here in Rockland County. So we've been fortunate enough to offer that to our students, and being the one here in Rockland County. I believe our closest neighbor really for an academy is Fort Lee, New Jersey. But that's really, really where we're at. And one thing I do want to say is we are always looking for partners,
Right.
either whether it comes to job shadows or we're looking for internships or even guest lecturers. that can really, help bring the real world into our classrooms. So if you check out our website at North Rockland, nrcsd.org/AOF, you'll find out more information about the program along with my contact information.
And you took the words out of my mouth because I was going to mention the website as well. So that's absolutely where I was going. Also, for those of you that want to learn more specifically about the National Academy of Finance, where Timothy has the shaping for the program, you can visit that at naf.org. And again, for
Correct.
the NRCSD com or .org, right?
.org. Yeah.
/AOF. Yeah.
/ just the AOF, and it should bring you right to our page.
Yeah, and we'll put that on the news story as well. So hopefully you have a little bit more time. I wanted to kind of take a walk down memory lane a little bit, and this predates me. You mentioned that you've been doing this for 25 years, 625 or so students that have come through the program. You just finished the 25th anniversary, and you had a dinner over at Patriot Hills, the Patriot Lounge, for the graduating class of the program. Let's go back in time because I notice every single year that I'm at the event, and thank you for inviting us, you get a little teary-eyed. And I'm not trying to go there with you, but that means to me that it means something to you. So take me back to the beginning a little bit, the first year or two, or even before like the inception of this. What was the spark? What was the thing that, you took a personal component that you were able to turn into a very successful program, if I may ask that?
Well, I was fortunate enough to come to North Rockland. They were starting this program as I said, back in the year 2000. My predecessor, Pam Schaefer, was working here for many years,
Mm-hmm.
and the assistant superintendent, um, who came from Yonkers, had this program in the Yonkers program in the Yonkers School District, and they're the ones that proposed this. So. When I was brought in, unbeknownst to me, they kind of looked at my resume and said, "Hey, I think this guy would be a pretty good fit for what our vision's going to be."
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that it just grew and grew and just got better and better every year, with with the academy itself. Not going to lie, it was a lot of work in the very beginning. But it was something that was different. It was different for the students. And one of the things that, when you sit and talk about the dinners and whatnot is, I'm fortunate enough to work with students for 2 years straight, so that I really get to know them. They're in grade 11 and they wrap around to grade 12. So,
Yeah.
I always kid around. I goes, there's times in which, I talk to, a lot of these students more than their parents do during the course of this 2 years together. And one of the intangibles of this program is that, and I always say this to when I do my pitch for kids coming in. I said it's more than just the coursework. It's more than just the internships and the work-based learning opportunities. We're taking a very large school and making it small. And a lot of the times you're going to, end up sitting next to somebody there that maybe in your class you never knew, and they're going to become your best friend. We've had students actually get married from the program. I had students,
Whoa,
they're in
all
each
right.
other's different wedding parties. There was even 2 students that even bought houses next to each other up in Connecticut. So there's
That's cool.
intangible piece there. So when you sit and you say, I get a little teary eyed because the truth is you see them for 2 years, you see them how much they grow over that time frame.
Yeah.
So
They mature, right?
it's a very rewarding program, very rewarding job. And I always tell the kids, I said, if you don't even think about finance, think about teaching, as well. I go, it's a great career.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. I did a different teaching career, but I did 19 years over at Rockland Bosse's. It was like teaching computers and
Mhm.
Microsoft Word and
Yeah.
everything. But there's still a few students that I stay in touch with, and it's appreciated because it's you get the sense that you made a difference for them. And 625 students. I'm sure there's more than a few that you keep in contact with. And you had, I think, at this particular event, you had one that you said that was a bit testing for your program, And but you guys kept in touch, and he actually did the keynote this year.
Absolutely. Well, as part of our dinner each year, I try to bring back an alumni
Hmm.
because I think it's important to keep those connections. I also think it's important because the alumni that's 20 years out sat in those same seats that the students sat in, so they can get a vision of who they can become in the future.
Hmm.
Well, I know you're a North Rockland guy. We always say once you're a Red Raider, you're always a Red Raider. So it's I just feel that it's a good way to network. It's a good way to just also give back to the community by having these alumni come in.
Right. Most definitely. Well, do you have any prospects for the summer? Are you going to take it easy? Are you going to start shaping,
Well, no, we actually have our next group of interns going out starting on June 29th
Mhm.
and July 6th, depending on what the start date is. So we have 21 students going out to work this summer, and that's our goal for the summer. And then, believe it or not, in September we start all over again.
Yeah.
Starting looking for opportunities for the students and really giving them the advantage when it comes to college.
Yeah.
I just want to tie in one last thing before we go. I mean, I know I've had students who go to do their internships, college level internships, and they're always amazed that students did internships when they were in high school,
Mhm.
and the fact that they were also paid internships. Working for different companies and banks and CPA firms and whatnot, and it just really does give them that competitive advantage. And I just think that's even more and more important, today than more so than ever, just because how competitive the job market is.
It's getting mighty sporty out there, I have to tell you, because we have rocklandjobs.org. And I think you know about this, that Facebook group on that is Rockland Employment. There's like 15,000 people on there at this point. It's unbelievable. And
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, well, it's nice to see that the job market is vibrant, and I think Rockland has one of the lowest unemployment rates in all of the state. But as an official that I spoke with off the record, it's like it requires constant vigilance. So we always
Hmm.
need the new workforce to continually help out with the things that are happening, and then they supply great ideas, and it's comforting to know that you're training them the right way.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. But
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to end this now,
Go
Tom,
go.
because someone's
Yeah.
looking for me.
No problem.
But I will thank you once again for allowing me to come on today. It's been a great time, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
My pleasure. Timothy Ahle from the North Rockland High School Academy of Finance. Thanks for joining us today. And let me just push the ends button, but we'll talk offline in the next week or two. All right. So it was great talking with
All
you.
right. Very good.
Uh,
Very good. Thanks, Tom. Take care.
Brother, you got it. Okay. So, and for those of you that are looking to learn more about this program, or perhaps I'm just going to say this, if you have a child that is perhaps going into North Rockland High School as a freshman or a sophomore, this might be a good time to talk with them about the idea of going to the North Rockland High School Academy of Finance. And some of the kids are going to say, no, I don't want to do that. That's cool. But might be a good idea to perhaps approach that topic, because you never know. I mean, there are so many. It is my firm belief. I'm not going to opine too much, but I do firmly believe that every person, every child, every human being has a skill. And, hopefully it's like a knock it out of the ballpark, slam dunk, touchdown skill. But when we tap into those skills, especially early on in life, it could be the course change that completely transforms a person's life. And I've seen it. I've seen it happen in my own companies. I've seen it happen in organizations. One person can transform an entire organization. But I do also firmly believe, especially when it comes to business, careers, and money, the fundamentals are still the same. Know how to budget yourself. And then once you know how to budget and finance yourself, you're able to properly do the same for your career. So definitely check it out. If you want to learn more, go to nrcsd.org/AOF. And the national program is, I think I had this on the screen before. Let me just NAF.org. That's the National Academy of Finance. And we just got one more story before we get off the air. I'm sure a lot of you are getting ready for the weekend and perhaps a game 5 somewhere. And by the way, we'll be live streaming that. The watch party from Piermont. Unfortunately, it's already sold out. But special thanks to No Code Joe's, the barbecue and sports bar located in Piermont, New York, for having us for the watch party. Again, it's sold out. So sorry, but if you wanted to tune in, I'm sure you're going to be checking out all the festivities, but it will be available on your favorite social media sites. And we'll have the podcast afterwards. People are going to voice their ideas about how the game is going to go. And if we're there late enough, voice their ideas on how the game went. And I'm a Knicks fan back in the 90s, and we've all suffered. So I have to tell you, and I'm a superstitious kind of guy when it comes to a few things. One of them is sports. And I've decided I am not going to watch this game. I'm just going to hang out like Moses on the mountain alone and hope for the best. I did get a chance to see the game 4, and it was quite the joyous occasion, but the job is not done. I am not going to say that the job is done on this until the Knicks have 5 games. I know it's only 4 in order to win the thing. Until the Knicks have 5 games in the win column in the NBA Finals. So break a leg. Good luck, Knicks. Whatever it takes, get it done, baby. Get it done. And finally, Rockland County is now accepting nominations for the 29th Annual County Executives Outstanding Environmental Volunteer Award. The honor recognizes residents who have made meaningful contributions to protecting local natural resources, including parks, watersheds, waste reduction, conservation, and environmental stewardship. County Executive Ed Day and the Division of Environmental Resources say that nominations will be accepted until 5 p.m. on August 28th. Last year, Joanne Lewis Paul, one of our reporters here at Rockland's News, won the Environmental Award for Rockland County. And in my estimation, I think it was well deserved. She is a fantastic individual that really cares. She's actually doing some really great work over in Spring Valley, specifically with the parks, cleaning up the parks. And also there's a project where they're using an old, I think, train line over there, and they want to convert it into like a bicycle or walking path. There are precedents for this all over the country, but a good local one is up in, I believe, the Chester, Monroe area of Orange County, where there's this really cool rail trail that I've actually traversed myself on bicycle with my pal Thomas Cianelli. And it was a really cool time, very peaceful, very relaxing. And that is something that in Rockland County, we certainly want to always make sure that we have an abundance of. It's getting busier in Rockland. There's more residential activity. There's more traffic. And there's more business things. And I'm sure the frustrations of daily life that you that are listening to this podcast can certainly relate to. And I think one of those ways of being able to get a little bit of a beat and a bit of a perspective on the appreciation for this life that we live is going out into nature and just being. So County Executive Ed Day and the Division of Environmental Resources do say that nominations will be accepted until 5 p.m. on August 28th. Nominees must be Rockland County residents and at least 18 years old. The winner will be recognized during a tree dedication ceremony on October 8th at Kennedy Dells Park. I should find out where that is, but I'm assuming it's in Rockland. Nominations can be submitted online with more information available through Rockland County's Division of Environmental Resources. And let me just go grab that website domain. Rockland County Division of Environmental. See, I'm Googling for you. I care. Environmental Resources. And I got to go in a minute, but I'm going to find this for y'all. Okay, so it's rocklandcountyny.gov/departments/environmental resources. And there's a dash in between environment resources. You can go to Rockland countyny.gov. I'm sure you'll find it, but the point is it's a really cool program, and best of luck to all of the nominees this year for that. So that's about it. And also, just on a more comical note, one of our reporters, Caesar A, posted that article about and I'm joking around about this. It's an absurd story, but the Gang of 71. I'm kidding. All right. The teenagers, all right, they're teenagers. And they went into the culverts of Nyack, and they got lost, and they're underneath Main Street. Help! Help us! Thankfully, everybody was okay. All right, emergency services and everything. Definitely a serious issue. Definitely. Okay. This would have been a completely different way that we reported this story if there was any level of tragedy whatsoever. And by the way, I got to ask this: where were the chaperones? I think that's another thread that I'm sure that various administrations in Rockland County will be following up on based on some conversations that we had off the record with various news sources in the area. So just note that the story ain't over. But in the immediate sense, okay, the 71 teenagers are safe. And as I mentioned yesterday on the podcast with Mayor Joe Rands from Nyack, we were all kids once. I remember very clearly when we were up in Stony Point back in like the late 80s, early 90s, and we went into the sewers of Stony Point, and we explored around. We kind of got bored. We're like, all right, we're gonna go back now, and we did. So we've all done that. Obviously, this was a mistake, but obvious. And I also think, just an innocent one, at least from the perspective of the teenagers. Now, again, the chaperones, that's a different story. So I hope that there's some corrections that are certainly made. And I think that's important here. But let's focus on the most important thing is that those 71 teens are safe. So again, I hope you all have a great weekend. We're going to end the show here. I should also note that we are going to have Leslie's social group is going to be over at Kobe Sushi tonight. Leslie's social group is going to be over at Kobe Sushi, and they have music, typically jazz, on Fridays and Saturday nights. And it's a really cool scene. So you're going to see a lot of other stuff happening over at Kobe Sushi. If you mention Rockland's News, by the way, you get 15% off your entire sushi order, minimum $75 for the table. But also, if you bought anything from Kobe Sushi, minimum $35 during the Knicks game this past Wednesday, Joyce told me that she will honor a $15 discount on anything that you purchase tonight. So whether it's $15 off from the Knicks win and you have a receipt from that you bought something on Wednesday, or if you want to just come in and mention Rockland's News, you're getting that 15 off. 15% or $15 coming back into your pocket, ladies and gentlemen. Coming right back into your pocket. Okay. So that should be it for now. And I'm also going to thank our sponsors because that is very appreciative. The sponsors that do things. Work Smart New York Business Bootcamp, Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Easy Temp located in Hackensack, New Jersey, Fiesta Acapulco, fantastic nightclub located in Stony Point, New York. Very festive, very bright, and great food over there. Kobe Sushi with their jazz music lounge. Breakpoint Bowling with their $2 million entertainment facility. Literally, big screen TVs, over 20 lanes. Plus, you got the arcade for the kids and laser tag, as well as a restaurant and tavern. Joey A's DJ on weekends. It's just a fantastic atmosphere. Learn more about them at breakpointbowl.com. Whole Shot Bagels, go in there. If you're a first-time customer located in Half Straw, New York, mention Rockland News and you get a free bagel. How about that? Now, I don't know if they're going to charge for the cream cheese or the butter, but they'll probably add that in for free anyway because they're cool. Hello, Clevin and Victoria. Rock on, rock on. They're big on Instagram, too. Stony Point Massage, UPS store in West Haverstra, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Susan Bova from Coldwell Banker Realty, 99 Signs for all your digital, billboard, and portable sign needs. Remember, a business without a sign is a sign with no business, or something like that. That's the way they said it. But, it's 99signs.com. FC Perfection Auto Body Repair, located in Congers, New York, and our friends over at Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. Special thanks to the Rockland News team. We hope that you have a great weekend, and go Knicks. Yeah, I love it when you end the show like that. It's funny.